Hey, hey, it's Dr. J, and welcome to Breakfast with Dr. J. It's been a while, hasn't it? So, for those of you that come on at 8:30 on a Saturday morning, please say hi in the chat box, and we'll see who's there. I'm doing this on the computer because I don't really like it on the telephone. So, welcome to Breakfast with Dr. J. It's my cup of coffee. As my friends know, I make a pretty mean cuppa. We're not going to waffle today, I'm just going to get stuck straight into it. And today's topic is about creating success momentum. Now, this is specifically for the fitness industry. I've been involved in the fitness industry for 30 plus years. And over the years, I've seen some incredible successes. And over the years, I've seen some absolute meteorical rises and destruction. And there's been a common denominator. And the common denominator is I'm going to share with you in the next 10 minutes. That's it. Success momentum is not created by mistake. It's actually, it's a process. Some people have it innately, but most people in this business world now have to have a plan. If you have a plan, it works well. If you don't have a plan and we wing it, it doesn't work. So let me give you some of the things that creates good momentum, and also some of the things that make you fail. The first thing is, and there's the three things I'll get you to avoid, and please write this down. This is a pretty quick and easy today. Three things you need to avoid. Not having a target or budget for your sales, number one, but if you have one, if you don't talk about it every day and measure it on a daily basis and have front of mind, it is not going to happen. Please write this down. What you talk about most becomes important. Don't nag. It just has to be visually seen. So see it and talk about it. How are we trucking? How are we moving forward? Talk about those KPIs. How many tours? How many presentations are we doing tomorrow? Are we doing today? If you don't talk about it, it doesn't become important. It is not front of mind. And guess what? No results. Number two, old selling tools. Oh, how many clubs and studios am I going to these days where I'm seeing the old tools, old stuff that hasn't been updated? It has got the wrong language. And the salespeople are doing their very best, but guess what? It's not working. They say, oh, the leads are crappy, or in some cases, there's less leads, which means we've got to nail it. Upgrade those sales tools. Now, we can help you with that. We've got tons of blanks. I'll show you some in a moment. And the next thing is no practice. How would you expect to be any good at anything if you don't practice the basics? People say, oh, I hate role play. No, we don't do role play anymore. Old school. We do PDR with little mini micros, and it needs to be done on a regular basis. We've been watching the Winter Olympics. Did you watch the tennis? Do you think those people just get out there and have a hit, jump on those skis and fly through the air without the practice? The champions practice. Big mistake if you want to be good at something if you don't practice. It's called sales complacency. Sales complacency comes in and says, oh, I've done it for years. Oh, my team are pretty good. Oh, we've done that. Oh, we don't need to do any training. Oh, our tools are fantastic. Sales complacency happens when we have success and we think it's going to continue. Well, if we don't maneuver it, you'll have the boiling frog syndrome, and guess what? It'll be too late. Okay, they're the things to avoid. Now let's get onto some things you can do. I want to make sure that you start doing things and start doing the practice, because let me promise you something. If you wing it and just say, well, I'm pretty good at it now, winging it doesn't work. Especially on the telephone, especially on Zoom, especially in price presentation. You have to have the tools and you have to do the practice. Now, I wish you didn't. Yeah. It'd be great. Just get out there. Here's a tool and knock yourself out. And the reason winging it doesn't work is because every good person, every great salesperson needs to have the tools and reminded what to say. You might have an off day. You might have a hard work person. You've got to have the tools. You've got to have the prompts, especially on the telephone. and your needs analysis, and in your price presentation, which I'll show you in a moment. You have to have the tools, and you can't wing it. You have to have the things of the prompts. And things like your USPs. You might say, I know them. Well, you've got more than one, and you probably only use two. The things you can show that you're an expert. Read something to somebody. Don't pretend you're just remembering it. Say, let me read this to you. And you get the piece of paper and you let them hear it on the phone. This is something that people take for granted. And let me tell you, I've spoken to many, many, many clubs and studios, many, thousands of them. And most of them, until they start getting it, are sounding ordinary on the phone. Underwhelming and friendly enough, but do it wrong. Thousands and thousands of dollars being left on the table. Thousands on a weekly and a monthly basis. So winging it doesn't work. So get a process and make it simple, but make sure there's a process and have the tools. Which comes down to the next thing. What tools do you have? Whether you're a personal trainer, whether you're a health club, leisure centre, you've got to have your tools. Everyone wants to go digital. Terrific. Well, typing on things is okay for CRMs and so forth, but I do recommend that you have the good old trusty inquiry sheet. You can have it there, but let me tell you now, it's very difficult for men to type and talk at the same time. Oh yes. You should have a couple little boxes, easy to write, tick the boxes, and if it has to be on an iPad, okay, you can use the pen on the iPad these days, all good. Typing and talking is tough, but make sure there is a prompt. Number 2, make sure that you have things such as like a Zoom prompt. If you haven't started flicking on to Zoom to do your presentations, you're going to be left behind. Have a Zoom prompt, the tools for presenting on Zoom. The next thing is you'll need to have a needs analysis. I know some people have said, oh, we don't use needs analysis anymore. Really? So how do you qualify the prospect? We ask them the questions, and let me tell you that those 30 or 12 or 15 questions try to be remembered ain't going to happen. There needs to be a tool. And by the way, the tools are different. If you haven't changed it in the last 8 to 9 months, they've changed. Do you have a proofing activity? In other words, do you have a ways of proving what you say is true? And many of you have a start when you like, stop when you want type of membership. But do you have a timeline presentation that takes them through a model which allows them to see how long they could possibly stay with you? And a big one, and we ask people to train this first, how do you do your price presentation these days? If you're doing your price presentation in a verbal process only, we're going to get knocked out. If you're going to have more than 6 numbers, you're going to lose sales. A lot of people now are gravitating to a tariff close, which they go from the top and then to the right with an alternate choice. Tariff closes have become very popular, belly to belly, seeing that people are going to come back into our clubs now, or on the Zoom. Oh yes. And there's also a VAK close when you're doing it on the telephone, which, yeah, it works better than just telling them. With all those tools. If you want to create success momentum, make sure you have the tools. If you need some of those tools, want some help, give me a buzz. Darren and I can show you what we have and how we can help you. All right, now we've got all the tools out of the way. But are you one of the 5%ers? Are you a doer? We find that a lot of people have the best of intention. They get into overwhelm, don't know what to do, and just rubber band back to what they've always done. And you as a manager or a business owner don't want to have to do new things. Don't want to have to learn something new. Oh my goodness, I've got so much to do. Probably working 80 hours a week anyway. So why would I want to learn something new? Well, if you actually teach your team to do it, and then teach them and encourage them to teach others, guess what? You will learn 5 times faster, and then you can empower them to do more. If you say you're going to do it, the best way to be a doer is to make yourself accountable. Get a person that will keep you accountable. Ideally not a family member. It's usually a team member. And if you're an owner or manager, say, hey buddy, I want you to be my accountability buddy. Let's do the damage. So in summary, avoid those big mistakes that I told you about. Not talking about your KPIs and not having those old tools and not having no PDR. Make sure you don't wing it on the phone or on your Zooms or even in your price presentation. It is a formula for disaster. Have the tools. Upgrade your tools. Have a look at the tools. If you'd like to have us to have a look at your tools, no problem. Show us. We'll actually have a Zoom and tell you what to upgrade. And the last thing is, if you want to be successful and create that success momentum, make sure you're a doer. Have some accountability buddies. All right. Well, that's going to be our bits and pieces. It's all done and dusted for today. If you need a little bit of help, reach out. We're here to help you along the way. All right, gang? We'll also have a great Saturday, and we'll see you next week at 8:30. Bye for now.